Thank you very much for attending Shintaro's cross-cultural business communication training program. Today, I'm going to talk about only a portion of Japanese business people's communication habit, which is also reflected in Japanese business people negotiation. Okay. One of them, which I want to emphasize, is that Japanese won't read Kuuki. Kuuki is a Japanese word, which means air, atmosphere, aura, or feeling, mood, and as such. Now you understand, they are not language. Yes, Japanese count heavily on non-verbal communication. So it includes body language. Japanese won't read or want to get some important meanings in an air or an atmosphere or mood, which are not expressed in language. Japanese want to read, watch your face carefully, want to see your facial expression and also body language. Furthermore, Japanese want to read an aura emanating from your body. And surprisingly, to many non-Japanese people, Japanese apply this habit to business negotiation. That is why there are many misunderstandings arising from this Japanese specific habit of reading Kuuki. Since reading Kuuki is not reading your language spoken, so Japanese want to observe your behavior very carefully and want to find out some important messages in unexpressed Kuuki. Why Japanese like to read Kuuki? There are many reasons, of course. One important point which I want to emphasize is that it is due to feudalism. Samurai, I think you know that. Samurai are warriors who worked for their lord, and they had very much disciplined loyalty to the lord, which is unconditional. And samurai had tremendous power, formidable power. Only samurai were allowed to carry weapon, which is katana. In English, it is called sword. Sword can kill people. So, samurai, this minority people, according to a scholar, it is said that only 3% of the total Japanese population was samurai. And the other majority, 97 ordinary people, were ruled by samurai. Samurai started to rule Japan from 1192 to 1867. Look at that. Almost 800 years samurai ruled Japan, and the majority of Japanese people obeyed their ruling. Since samurai had formidable power if you make a mistake. Then if samurai is upset by an ordinary person, he was allowed to kill you instantly with his sword. Therefore, many Japanese ordinary people were so much scared of samurai people, and slowly, ordinary people, the majority of Japanese people, refrain from talking directly to samurai people. They try to talk something not important, not touching any subject, political subject, relating to samurai people's ruling. Slowly, Japanese started read unexpressed body language, including Kuuki. This habit was brought up in these 800 years, and after the samurai lost the power in 1867, the next political power in Japan were military people. Again, until 1945, when Japan lost war to the United States of America, instead of samurai, very strong military people started to rule Japan. Again, we were back in feudalism. Again, majority of Japanese people were deprived of freedom of speech. Whereby, even now, contemporary Japanese people have this habit of reading Kuuki. And this reading Kuuki, this habit, as I said a little while ago, is applied to communication and also negotiation. It is applied to business situation. So many people sometimes are driven crazy by this Japanese specific habit of reading Kuuki, which is not expressed in language. And I'm sure many of you non-Japanese business people, okay, in this case, I'm targeting American business people. American business people, I'm sure, had experience where Japanese kept quiet and also silent during business negotiation. And many American people, so much surprised by this silence practiced by Japanese people. It is when Japanese are trying to read Kuuki. Since Kuuki is not expressed in language, Japanese are looking at you, observing you, and trying to read between the lines of your speech, of your talk, and trying to find out bottom line information between the lines and also in Kuuki. That is one of the reasons why Japanese sometimes keep quiet. And this silence also can drive many American business people crazy too. Unfortunately, important point here is that Japanese are not aware of this habit objectively. And many Japanese people do not understand why we have this specific habit of reading Kuuki, and we count on it. As I said, silence can create many misunderstandings in both parties, Japanese and also Americans. you might think that, why don't you speak out to express your own ideas, suggestions, or proposals in language, or even in Japanese? Then they can be translated into English. It should be easier. You might think so. But habit, which is rooted in Japanese indigenous culture, it's really difficult to look at it objectively. So we are not aware of it. And also we are not well trained to speak out our own ideas, suggestions, or proposals in language. Even in Japanese life, day-to-day Japanese life, and also business situations. Society doesn't train us to speak out our own ideas. Therefore, if you meet Japanese business counterpart and want to make a deal, please be prepared for many rounds of negotiation. Japanese want to read Kuuki. No matter how you are expressing clearly in your own language, English, still Japanese want to find out many other meanings beyond language. That's Japanese habit. So please give Japanese some time for many rounds of negotiation, and don't get fed up with it. Be patient, please. And I would like to talk more about it. However, today, let me focus only one point. Please don't compare such cultural differences existing between Japanese and Americans. If you compare differences, then you won't grade them, which is more superior or which is more inferior, etc. Then you cannot have good result from business negotiation with Japanese people. This is a very important point. I want to talk more about Japanese business communication trait rooted in Japanese indigenous culture. However, let me do it in the next video clip. And thank you very much for viewing this video clip. And thank you very much, and I'll see you soon again. Until then, bye-bye.